Welcome guys to Picama Stitches. Today we're going to be making this beautiful dress. On the thumbnail I have this crepe fabric and I have this Ankara print. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 4. The front is on fold of 2, the back is on fold of 2. Can you see this? Okay, and then the length should be the first half of your dress, and then on fold here I have 16.5 inches. Okay, I'm working with 3 yards of Ankara print. Okay, so at the top part here, go ahead and mark 1 inch at the top part, which will serve as our shoulder line and as our starting point. And after marking this, I'm going ahead to connect this into a straight line. Now from that part, that's where all our markings will start from. So at this folded parts, just the way you see me do, I'll go ahead and mark our 3-inch initial measurement at this part. I'll come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. Don't mind the way I sloped it. Go ahead and do yours correctly, please. Okay, so go ahead and slant from the neck width of 3 inches down to your 1 inch shoulder slope. Please don't forget to add half of an inch for shoulder joining. Now from that sloped line, for a slim person you can do 9 inches, you can do 10 inches for the sleeve opening, but I did 9 inches. But for a plus size you can do 11 inches. Now I've gone ahead to connect this line. Now from the shoulder, that line is 10 inches, which is her bust point. Shoulder to waist is 18 inches, and then I came down by 9 inches for our hip points from the waistline. Okay, and I've gone ahead to connect all these lines into a straight line, just the way you see me do. Now at this bust point, I'm going to be marking my client's bust measurements divided by 4, and I'm going to be adding 3 inches to this. This dress is not that fitted a dress, okay, so we don't need it really snug on the body. On the waist, I'm going ahead to mark her waist measurements as well, divided by 4, and I'm also adding 3 inches to that, and I'm connecting it to the bust point. At the hip point, I'm going to be marking our hip measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to be adding 3 inches as well to this, and I'll connect it to the waistline just the way you see me do. Now what you have at the hip point, you're going to take it to the hem of this upper part of the dress. Remember, this dress is divided into 2 parts. Okay, so I'm marking it at that point and I'm connecting it back. You can decide to go out by half of an inch or 1 inch, depends on how flayed or out you want that lower part to be, or you can just take the actual measurement. Now I'm going to curve this part to avoid it being pointy. Okay, just go ahead and curve this part the way you see me do, and that forms our sleeve. Now the actual neck width I'm working with for this dress is 3.75 for the neck width, and then for the neck depth for the back I'm going to be doing 1 inch. I'm going ahead to connect this. Okay, connect this in a curved manner. That's for my back neck depth. Now for my front neck depth, I am going to be using 7 inches. Okay, because I want this dress to pass freely on her. You can just go ahead and leave it. When we're opening up the front, you do this, but I'll tell us why we're doing this much later. This will guide us when we're cutting out the facing, what we're going to be using at the center part. So I've gone ahead to add back my half of an inch for shoulder joining, and the dress cutting is all done. It's as simple as that for the top part. Remember, the lower part is going to be having gathers. Okay, so this is the top part of this dress. Now if you have enough fabric to play around with, you can go ahead and extend your extended shoulder more than what I have. You can make it 20 or 25 inches extension, but don't forget that we're going to be adding another fabric to the sleeve. There is a pattern, a design on the sleeve and at the center of the front part. Okay, so I'm going to be attaching that design to it, so it will help the sleeve to be extended the more. I hope you understand. So we're done cutting both front and back. We're going to lift out the back and then go ahead and cut out the front neck depth. Okay, can you see what I have there? Please, if you want to do it the way I'm doing, be careful so you don't cry premium tears. So you don't make mistake and cut both front and back neckline the same thing. Okay, so I've gone ahead to shapen out, and then I'll separate the front from the back piece so we can work on the front. Okay, now before we do that, go ahead and notch this waist part because we're going to be attaching belt to this. So now this is just my front piece. I've taken out the back piece. Let's go ahead to work on the front piece. We're going to be attaching that band at the center part, so let's go ahead and do that. From this lower part, I'm going to be marking 2 inches. You can do 2.5, 3 inches maximum, but I did 2 inches. Okay, and I'm going to be marking that 2 inch from the lower part just on the front piece. Okay, to this V-neck part we took, and at that point go ahead and connect it to the neck width that you drew out already. Do not cut from your shoulder, so the front and back shoulder will align. Just look at the way I'm connecting this. Okay, now from the shoulder, confirm this measurement, because when we're going to be cutting out, we'll need this measurement. Okay, so go ahead and connect your 2 inch all the way to that part and cut this out. We're going to be replacing this with another fabric. Now make sure you note from your shoulder point to that neck depth. When we're going to be creating the V shape, we'll need that measurement. It will guide us to know where our neck depth for the front is going to stop. So just go ahead and cut out that measurement, but do not cut through to your shoulder. Can you see the way I did mine? Okay, and this means our front piece is now separate. It's 2 different pieces. Can you see this? I'll open this up. Can you see what I have? Can you see the V effect? Okay, that's what I wanted to achieve. I didn't want it to be just straight. So go ahead and bring in your back piece. You're going to lay them right sides facing each other, and you're going to be joining the both shoulders with 1/2 inch. Okay, so after joining the both shoulders, can you see what I have? I joined with 1/2 inch, and the front is open. We're going to go ahead now and work on the sleeves. Open up your sleeves after joining. Okay, you open this up. Now I'm going to be using this black fabric to complete my sleeve. The length of this fabric when opened is 8 inches. Okay, on fold I'm going to be having 4 inches. Okay, depends on how wide you want yours to be. So I'm going to place the rough part of this fabric on the right side of this my Ankara piece, just the way you see me do, and stitch it down. You flip it over and top stitch if you want to. Okay, so I've gone ahead to do the exact same thing on the both sleeves. Can you see what I have? Make sure you iron as you sew along. Okay, so can you see what I have? I've gone ahead to attach it to the both sleeve opening. Can you see this? So I'm trying to adjust the camera better for us. The next thing we're going to be doing from the lower part of this, your top part of your dress, I hope that's understandable. Go ahead and measure round this opening all the way to the back neckline and back to the opening of the front. Just measure around the way you see me do, all the way through to the neck, the back neck. Open it up. You can measure this twice, okay, just to be sure, but I always love to have cut excess more than what I measured. Like I always say, it's better to have excess than to have shortage. If you have excess, you can always trim it off. Now after measuring round this opening, I have 67 inches, but I'm going to be cutting 69 inches. It's better to have excess. Now I have this fabric, since it's not up to 2 or 3 yards, it's just by 60 or thereabouts, so it's not going to give me the length that I want to go round. So I'm going to be joining my fabric to make up, okay, for this. I'm going ahead to measure this lengthwise. Can you see what I have? It's not even up to 60, so I'll need to join mine, but if you have enough fabric, you won't need to join yours. And then the width of this fabric is 5 inches. Remember, we cut out 2 inches at the center front, half of an inch on both sides to join this to the main Ankara. So I'm cutting out 5 inches. I hope you understand. So can you see the other fabric I'm bringing in? I'll join it together. So when you're done joining, put your main fabric together. Make sure the shoulder lines are matching up accurately. We want to get the midpoint of the back neckline. Align it the way you see me do. We want to determine the opening that we need before we join the lower part of this facing or design we're putting in front. Now that neck depth I asked us to take note of will guide us to know the opening we have in front. I hope you understand. So this dress can pass through our neck. Remember, there's no zipper. Okay, so make sure you note that point. That's why I created that V. When you're done knowing where you want your opening to stop, measure it round the way you see me do. Can you see what I have? I have 14 inches. So this will guide me to know from my back neck to my front neck depth what I need. Okay, now I didn't want this joining to be right at the center back, so I brought mine down a little bit. So from that center back, just the way you see me do, I'm going to be marking down 14 inches. The 14 inches we just measured now. Now remember, this our fabric is a width of 5 inches. You're going to be marking the midpoint of this your 5 inches, which is 2.5 inches. If you marked 3 inches, you're going to be cutting out 6 inches of fabric, or 7 inches to be on the safe side. Okay, so I hope you understand. If anything is confusing to you, just let me know in the comments. Okay, you're going to be marking this your 2.5 inch all the way to the hem of this strip of fabric. Okay, we cut out 2 inches at the center front. Now I'm cutting out 5 inches fabric. When you fold it into 2, you're going to be having 2.5. Half of an inch will be to join this to the Ankara, and then 2 inch will be replacing the 2 inches that we took out. I hope this is understandable. Okay, please, if you're confused, just let me know in the comment section. Okay, just go ahead and connect this 2.5. Make sure your fabric is laying properly and well. Get the midpoint of your fabric. I'm just going ahead to connect. I'm taking my time at this point because I want us to get this accurately. Okay, if you took 3 inches, if you cut out 3 inches at the center front, you're going to be taking out 7 inches of fabric. So by the time you fold in 2, you have 3.5. Half will be to attach to the main fabric. 3 inches will be the replacement of what you cut out. Now from this part, you're going to follow the seam line, the marking you just made, and stitch at this 2.5 line all the way to the hem of the fabric. So I've gone ahead to stitch. Can you see what I have all the way to the hem of this fabric? Please do not sew this upper part. Leave it free. That's where your neck, your head is going to pass through. Go ahead and flip everything the way you see me do. After flipping this, please make sure you go ahead and iron this appropriately. Iron this out. Now after laying everything, get the midpoint of this your shoulder the way you see me holding it. Okay, notch the midpoint of this attachment we're going to be making to the center. Okay, you can use your pins to hold this in place because you don't need this to move. Then also put your fabric together and notch the center of your back piece because we want this to align perfectly. You're going to be sewing from the center of the back piece to the hem, and from the center to the other opening as well on the front piece. Can you see what I just did? So flip your fabric to the right side and bring in this our attachment facing, whatever you call it. Okay, place them right sides facing each other. Can you see what I have here? And then you're going to stitch it from the center back with half of an inch. Stitch it all the way to the opening at the lower part. Okay, and when I'm done, I'll stitch to the other parts. Now after stitching, can you see how beautiful our dress is coming together? Can you see the attachment? Everything matches up neatly, and this gives us our correct neck depth. Okay, And then remember that notch we made at the side. I'm going to be attaching a belt to this. Okay, the width of this belt is 5 inches. When I fold into 2, it's going to be 2.5, and the length of it is 30 something inches. I didn't get the figure again. Okay, so when you fold it, it will be 2.5, half of an inch to close, then we're left with 2-inch belt width. And we'll also attach pockets to this dress. Okay, so this is a little fabric I have. I will need to manage this to create 4 pieces of fabric for my pockets. Okay, remember I'm working with 3 yards of Ankara print. Okay, so I'm going to place my hand just the way you see me do to create a random curve. I've done so many sleeves, okay, like this, sorry, pockets like this on this channel. So if you've been following me by now, you should be able to do this accurately. So I'm going to place this 2 pieces on this one I have here to cut out the exact same thing for me to have 4 pieces. Now these 4 pieces will be for the both sides of the front and the both sides of the back. Okay, so I'm going to show us how you're going to attach this, but I'm sure for me the length of this my pocket is 10 inches, and the width, the opening at this part I'm trimming off, I had 7 inches, which is just perfect. 7 to 8 inches for the opening is just perfect. Okay, so I'm going ahead to measure this for us to see. Can you see 7 inches, and then the length of this my pocket is 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and place this. You should know how to place this by now. Now at that notched point that we created while we're cutting our fabric, that's where you're going to be placing your belt. Your belt will be placed inside the fabric. Okay, it's going to be placed inwards. Then you come down by half of an inch and place your pocket. Okay, let me flip this fabric to the wrong side and quickly show us how to do this. Okay, now this is the wrong side of the fabric. The belt is going to be just on the right side of the fabric, not on the back. The back is going to be having just the pockets, okay, and the fronts as well, but the 2 belts is going to be attached to the front part only. Now this is the notched part. After joining your belt and flipping it to the right side, you're going to be placing it inwards the way you see me do. Okay, let's say you're done joining. From your notched part, go upwards, place your belt the way I'm demonstrating, and then you stitch it down just on the right side of your fabric, please. And then you're going to bring in your pocket. Okay, you're going to be placing the pocket right sides facing each other and stitch down just 1/4 of an inch down from the belt. Stitch it down on all sides, and then you shapen up the sides, the both sides. So after shaping the both sides, fixing in our belt and our pocket, can you see how beautiful this is? It's a very simple dress. Can you see our 2 beautiful pockets? So can you see our belts? Can you see the center laying neat and flat? Okay, and I've gone ahead to shape the sides. Now we're going to be attaching the lower part of this dress. You're going to get the full measurement of your dress. If the length of your dress is 40 inches and then the upper part here is 30 inches, your gathers to complete the length of your dress will be 10 inches. I left half of an inch opening on both sides. Okay, now I'm going to be measuring what I have at this lower part. Okay, and from what I have, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to that, 1 inch for joining on the both sides. Now I'm measuring from the top, from the shoulder point to where this upper part stops. Now this will guide me to know what is left to complete the length of my dress. So the fabric I'm going to bring in will complete the length of this dress. The length of this dress is 40 inches. What I have at this top part is 30. I need 10 inches to add up, but I'm going to be cutting out 11 inches, half of an inch to join to the top part, half of an inch to join the lower part. Okay, so when you subtract what you have at the top part, this will complete the lower part for us. I hope this is understandable. And then the width of this fabric that I have here, this fabric is on fold. The width I have here is roughly 48 inches. Okay, so it's not going to give me a complete full gathers like I would have loved to, so I'll just make scanty pleats on it. Remember, I'm working with just 3 yards of Ankara print, so I'm going to go ahead and open this into two. One of the gathers will be for the front and one of the gathers will be for the back. Then when we're done, we'll join them at the sides. Now I'm going to pick one to do an illustration for us on how to attach this. You're going to flip this to the wrong side, go ahead and hem the lower part 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, stitch down. For the both pieces you do the same thing. Now when you're done stitching down, you're going to open up the allowances you left on the sides, because you're attaching from the allowance of one end to the other allowance. Can you see the opening that I have here? Can you see this? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to bring in the right side of this, your lower part. Okay, place this right side facing the fabric, and you're going to open up the sewing allowance, stitch from there, and then go ahead and make your gather. So I'll do that and show us what we have. So after making my scanty pleats, can you see what we have? I'm loving this dress. I think I should make one for myself. I've gone ahead to join the both sides after making the gathers. This is the lower part, this is the top part. I'm going to go ahead and give this a good press. There is no light right now, but I'll advise you, whenever you're sewing, please ensure you sew and iron as you sew. Very important, okay, for a neat work. But I just wanted to show us this quickly. So can you see the back? Okay, I made scanty gathers because I was managing my fabric at this point. And you go ahead and tie your belt to the back, and our dress is ready. I hope you loved and enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you will try this beautiful, simple, cheeky, trendy dress on yourself. So thank you guys for stopping by for today's tutorial, and this is the end result of my mannequin. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Kindly enjoy the view. Can you see how neat and beautiful this is? Till I see you guys next time. Bye bye.